Hello YouTube, this is Debbie from Partially Off Grid and Homesteading, and today I would like to show you how I make my no-knead Italian bread. This by far is not a fancy bread. It does not have sesame seeds or anything like that in it. This is just a plain Italian loaf, a no-knead style. I've watched many videos on YouTube. I've looked up different recipes on the internet, and I've compiled my own recipe. So this is my own version of how I make it. So let's get started. There's 3½ cups of regular flour here. You can use bread flour, any type of flour you'd like. I have olive oil here. Salt, I prefer pink Himalayan salt. And you need instant yeast. You can use the bread machine type yeast. But this is the instant. This is, like I said, what I use. I have almost 14 ounces of water. I'm going to say between 13 and 14 ounces of water. So let's get started. And I will add 1/4 teaspoon of yeast right directly into my flour and sprinkle it around. That's 1/4 teaspoon of yeast. Then I'm going to add 1½ teaspoons of salt. I hope you guys can see this because I'm looking at it sideways. Here's 1. And a half. Then I'm going to take my olive oil and I'm going to put 1 tablespoon of olive oil. I'm going to put that into my water and mix it together. I just find that's easier doing it that way. Okay, so you whisk this together. I guess I should have gotten all my implements out from the beginning. And my other one was wet. So, all right. Now, we are going to pour, after we stirred that together, we're going to pour our olive oil and water mixture in. And now at this point, you just want to stir it up. I take this end of my brush here, and I just kind of start like this. And I just go around and keep mixing it together. Oh, and I make a mess at the same time too. Isn't that great? See how it's forming a ball? I hope you can see that. Let me see. Yep, okay. I just kind of scrape around the sides and get the gist of it off. And keep going into scraping the bottom as well, kind of just turning it around. Some people I've seen use 14 ounces of water. I use between 12 and 14. I don't like a super wet dough, but this is a sticky wet style dough. Okay, so now at this point, we are going to take some saran wrap or a different type of plastic cover. Some people use those like shower cap kind of things. And let me wipe my hand off. There we go. So we're going to take it just like this. Just leave it just like it is. And we are going to leave this overnight. You can set it on your counter. I put it inside my microwave just because I don't want it out in the open. There. But you can set it in your oven. You can leave it on your counter. You can basically leave it wherever you want. Anywhere between 8 and 24 hours sitting out. This is step 1. The next video, or actually the continuation of this video, will be the rising, I guess you want to call it the proofing before you bake it. Okay, we're back, and this is the next day. I want to say it's tripled in size. See how beautiful that looks? Now what we want to do now is we're going to take it out of the bowl. I like to just work it in a little bit of flour so that I can turn it into a ball. So let's sprinkle some flour on our work surface here. You can see that. And then actually this degasses it a little bit as well. And like I said, I'm sure I'm not doing this exactly the proper way, but this is just my way. Well, spring is coming. It's a beautiful day. Windy, but beautiful. I don't want to roll it. What I do is I just pat it out like so. Kind of smooth it out and get some of the bubbles out. And then I just take my little scraper and fold it over. And we're going to do this about 4 times. Take it again, fold it over, push it out. Take it again on this side and fold it over and push it out. And one more time. There. Now, what I want to do is take it and kind of just start putting it into a little ball. Like so, tucking it in underneath as you're doing it and rounding it off. There you go. Right here. And I'm going to put a little bit of cooking spray in it. Use a little bit of olive oil cooking spray. Spray it into the bowl. Take your ball and set it in there. Now I'm going to take my plastic wrap, my little piece from earlier, reuse it, and put it right on top of this, and we are going to let this sit for an hour and a half because I'm going to wipe it off a little. It's damp from earlier. There. We're going to let this sit for an hour and a half and rise. I like to set mine into a warm area because it's chilly in our house. So I just set it back in the microwave and we'll get back with you in an hour. Okay, we're back now and it's been an hour and a half. I let the dough rise for an hour and then I put my stove on, preheat the oven to 450. For the first 15 minutes, I let the oven heat. And then during the second 15 minutes, I put in my cooking vessel. I don't have a Dutch oven, so this is the closest I come to a Dutch oven. A lot of people put this in a Dutch oven, and it assimilates, I guess, a very hot oven. So let me move my dough over here, and this cooking vessel is very hot. I like to use parchment paper because it just is an easier cleanup. So I've got my parchment paper here. I'm going to take my dough like so. And I'm going to just kind of take my spatula and move it away from the sides a little bit. And then just pour it onto my, see? Pour it onto my parchment. Now at this point, I am going to take it and lift it into my vessel, my cooking vessel, which is right there. Can you see it? Yes. Okay. And whoa, there she goes. Okay. Now, I like to personally cut some of the paper off. And that's just a personal preference. You don't have to do that. That's just me. And I rinse my scissors off. These are my cooking scissors, and I do like to keep them in the kitchen sterile to use for bread. I find it easier to cut the dough this way, although I do like using an X-Acto as well. Okay, so I'm going to just put me a couple snips in my dough, like so. And at this point, you're going to take your lid to your cooking vessel and place it back on. Now this is ready to go in the oven for 30 minutes. We'll get back to you then. Okay, it's time to take the bread out of the oven. It's been 30 minutes and we're gonna check it to see if it's done. So, this is my version of no knead Italian bread. What I failed to mention to you earlier was how to check your bread to see if it's done. And they do it by tapping it. If it sounds hollow, it's done. And our bread sounds hollow. So, it's been a couple hours or hour and a half, roughly maybe 2 hours. And I wanted to show you the inside of this bread. Let's see. Let's take a couple good pieces off of here. Look at that. Look how beautiful that is. Let's see if you can see that. That is beautiful. Now, I should cut this one in half. And I guess I have to do a taste test. Oh darn, I'm gonna have to taste this beautiful bread. A little bit of butter out. Let's see here. Move that over, and that's just amazing. I love fresh bread. For a long time, I thought I had a gluten sensitivity because all of the breads in the stores, they bothered my stomach. I wasn't eating bread for a long time. And then when I did start eating bread again, I was making gluten-free bread because I was like, this is crazy. I couldn't never make it properly. I was buying it from the store. I don't know. I mean, I felt a little better, but I was still feeling weird. So I just altogether quit eating bread. And I love bread at least once or twice a day, a slice. So I got to thinking, and a lot of people have issues with the things they put in bread. So that is why I started to make my own bread, flour bread from scratch. This has only, I think it's like 5 ingredients total. You have salt, you have flour, you have yeast, and you have olive oil, and you have water. So that's 5 things. And I will put the ingredients in the description box. So, thanks for watching. I really appreciate all of my subs. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate everything. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And as always, peace and love, YouTube. Take care. Bye now.